30 days. That's all we'd have left. At first, it looked beautiful, almost magical. A new glowing light in the sky. Slightly blue. Peaceful. People thought it might be a new moon. Or maybe a comet passing by. But as each night passed, it grew brighter. Bigger. Bluer. And then, astronomers sounded the alarm. It wasn't a comet. It was Uranus. And it was coming fast. Welcome back to Mysterious Universe, where we explore the biggest cosmic what-ifs and unravel the mysteries of the universe, one scenario at a time. Today's episode dives into something as mind-blowing as it is terrifying. What if Uranus suddenly left its orbit and collided with Earth? Sounds impossible? Of course it does. But let's imagine, just for a moment, that the unthinkable happened. What would we see? What would we feel? And more importantly, would we survive? Hold on tight. Because we're about to take a ride through space, time, and gravitational chaos. This is what would happen if Uranus made a direct journey toward Earth. And before we dive into this cosmic catastrophe, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode from Mysterious Universe. We break down science, space, and speculative futures like no one else, and we do it every week. Now, let's roll the clock back 30 days and watch the end of Earth unfold. It all began with a strange observation. Astronomers at observatories around the world noticed an anomaly. Uranus was drifting off its usual orbit. A planet that normally lived in peace on the edge of our solar system, about 1.9 billion miles from Earth, was now moving. No one knew why. Maybe a black hole had passed nearby. Maybe some unknown cosmic force had jolted it loose. But whatever the cause, the outcome was clear. Uranus was headed straight for us. By all calculations, it should take 13 years to reach Earth at its average orbital speed. That would give us time to prepare. Maybe even evacuate. But within just a few days, those hopes were shattered. Uranus wasn't moving at its usual glacial pace. It was accelerating rapidly, at a speed of nearly 1,000 kilometers per second. The ice giant was hurtling through space like a rogue missile. That meant one thing: humanity had just 30 days left before impact. The panic set in quickly. Governments scrambled. Scientists worked around the clock. News broadcasts ran 24/7. But there was no missile to intercept, no force to slow it down, and no place far enough to hide. We were out of time. As the days ticked by, Uranus became a familiar figure in the sky, rising beside the moon, glowing with a pale blue light. At first, it was the size of a star. Then it rivaled Venus. And then the moon itself. It was beautiful and terrifying. But the real danger didn't begin with Uranus itself. To get to Earth, it had to cross the asteroid belt, that chaotic region between Mars and Jupiter filled with rocky debris. As Uranus plowed through, it scattered asteroids in every direction, destabilizing their orbits. Many were flung inward, toward Earth. What followed was a storm of fire. Meteors lit up the sky in dazzling streaks, crashing into oceans and cities. Some were bigger than the one that killed the dinosaurs. And yet, it was only the beginning. Each passing day brought new chaos. The gravitational pull of Uranus, 15 times stronger than Earth's, began to tug at our planet. Volcanoes erupted. Earthquakes shattered cities. The ground split open. Entire mountain ranges collapsed. The planet was groaning under the pressure. And still, Uranus grew larger in the sky. Beneath its beautiful exterior, Uranus is a monster. It's a planet composed mostly of ice, gas, and deadly chemicals. And as it drew closer, the smell reached Earth's atmosphere, literally. The upper layers of Uranus are filled with hydrogen sulfide, the same chemical that makes rotten eggs smell foul. With the planet's gravity compressing Earth's atmosphere, pockets of that gas began seeping into the air. It would only take one breath to knock a person unconscious. The skies turned greenish. Birds fell mid-flight. Forests went silent. People wore masks, but nothing could keep the stench away. The world, quite literally, began to rot. And Uranus wasn't alone. Trailing behind it were its 27 moons, each a flying bullet, dozens of miles wide. Some were as large as our own moon. As Uranus neared Earth, those moons began to crash into us, smashing into continents, vaporizing oceans, and blasting entire nations into dust. Humanity tried to fight back. Rockets were launched. Underground bunkers were sealed. But nothing could withstand the gravitational tides or the incoming barrage. Then, on day 30, it happened. Uranus was no longer a glowing object in the sky. It filled the entire horizon. Its atmosphere mingled with ours. The skies turned blue, not from Earth's own air, but from the icy clouds of the gas giant now looming over us. And then, impact. But it wasn't a clean crash. It wasn't instant obliteration. Uranus, because of its size and speed, began pulling Earth apart piece by piece. Tectonic plates lifted and buckled. The oceans rose into the air and froze mid-flight, caught in the planet's magnetic field. Cities crumbled. Continents shattered. Then came the fire. The remaining atmosphere of Earth compressed and ignited under the pressure. Flames swept across the planet in an unstoppable wave. And then silence. When the dust settled, Earth, as we knew it, was no more. Our planet had become just another moon of Uranus, a charred, lifeless rock caught in its orbit, floating forever in the cold, blue light of a planet we once saw only through telescopes. But the story doesn't end there. Because Uranus had done this before. Billions of years ago, it's believed Uranus was hit by a massive object, twice the size of Earth. That impact tilted it sideways, giving Uranus its strange spin. It's the only planet in the solar system that rotates on its side. Now, after swallowing Earth, the force of this new impact could very well tilt it back upright. Earth's destruction could rebalance a planet thrown off for eons. In a twisted way, our final act might have helped reset a planet's history. And maybe, just maybe, fragments of Earth would carry seeds of life. Maybe a few bacteria, clinging to metal or stone, would survive. And in a billion years, something new might evolve. Life. Orbiting Uranus. So what can we take away from this? Other than nightmares? First, that the cosmos is full of surprises. The orbits we trust, the distances we count on, they can change. Catastrophes are rare, yes, but they're never impossible. Second, it reminds us of how fragile Earth really is. We live on a thin crust, floating above fire, protected by a bubble of air. Dependent on balance. A slight nudge from the outside, and everything collapses. But there's beauty in that too. Because despite all the odds, we're still here. Watching. Wondering. Asking questions. And maybe that's what makes humanity special. Not our strength. Not our numbers. But our curiosity. Our drive to look at a blue light in the sky, and ask, what if Uranus crashing into Earth is, of course, purely hypothetical. No planet is speeding toward us, at least, not today. But these, what if, scenarios force us to confront how little control we have, and how much we have yet to learn about our universe. What causes a planet to leave its orbit? What could send an ice giant speeding across the solar system? Could we ever stop it? Could we escape it? Questions like these push the boundaries of science and imagination. And that's what we do every week here at Mysterious Universe. We take you beyond headlines, beyond textbooks, and into the infinite possibilities of what might be. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Got a crazy what if of your own? Drop it in the comments, we just might turn it into a future episode. Until then, keep looking up. And keep wondering. Because in this universe, nothing is impossible.